Hello and welcome to a very special episode of The Homemade Songwriter. My name is Austin, and in today's video I'm going to give you some advice on how to navigate the inevitable questions you'll receive as a musician, songwriter, and artist around the dinner table during this holiday season. Whether you're just starting to make music or you've been plugging away at it for a couple of decades now, most of us have faced the same dilemma around the holiday season at some point. Relatives and loved ones don't always understand what we do, don't care about it, and possibly think we're foolish or overly idealistic for pursuing it as anything other than an occasional hobby. With that situation comes the usual line of questioning, uninformed suggestions, less than subtle criticism, and sometimes outright dismissal of the thing that we love. So how do we deal with that? The following are 3 tips I have for combating this mindset and getting to actually enjoy your turkey this year. Tip number 1. Never apologize. So it's pre-meal and everyone is around the kitchen or the living room getting progressively hungrier. The sports ball game is about to go on commercial break and Uncle Gary is 4 spiked eggnogs in when he turns to you and says,
"Ah, come on, Ref!" So, how's that whole music deal going? You make any money yet? So, what do you think you'll do for a real job? Man, you know who's a great songwriter? Dave Matthews, from the Dave Matthews Band. Your music sound anything like his? So, what's your backup plan?
Believe it or not, no matter the delivery, usually this line of questioning is at least somewhat well-intentioned, and it doesn't come from a place of thinking you suck at songwriting or making music, but rather it's just hard for folks to wrap their heads around the path to making it as a songwriter or performer because there isn't a clear path to making it as a songwriter or performer. Nevertheless, your instinct may be to recoil and pseudo-apologize for pursuing the thing that you love, and possibly to respond with, "Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I might go back to school and get my degree in something, just to have it." Dave Matthews? Yeah, it's kinda like that, just with more, not Dave Matthews sound. I'll probably try this for a while, and then, if it doesn't work out, I'll just get a 9 to 5. My advice to you is to fight that instinct. I'm not saying get defensive and jump down Uncle Gary's throat and try to educate him on how you're a professional or how it's a slow climb, but never apologize for doing something that you love and trying to make a living at it. You may have heard something along the lines of, do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life, but this is patently false in regards to music. Getting to the point where you can sustain a living on music in any capacity is a lot of work, and you can be proud of that work. Try responding with something more along the lines of, "Oh, thanks for asking. I'm really excited about the project I'm working on, and the people I've shown it to have given me some great feedback on it. Yeah, it's definitely a process, and it might take a while, but it's worth it for me because it's very fulfilling as a career pursuit, even at this stage. I'm really enjoying the process, and I think my songwriting is getting better every day. Oh, I don't have a backup plan because I don't need one. You know me, Uncle Gary. I'm not one to quit on something before I've given it my best effort. Hey look, the game's back on." Tip number 2, receive advice like it's good, even when it's not. Now it's finally mealtime and your family has adjourned to the table. You've graduated from the kids' table, so you've been seated within the radius of Great Aunt Petunia's mall kiosk funeral home scented perfume. She peers over her wine glass at you and says,
"So your mom was telling me about your songwriting project. What a fun hobby. My friend Gladys has a nephew whose friend tried out for America's Got the Voice Idol and made it all the way to Hollywood. Have you thought about doing that? Say, have you ever tried calling the radio and asking them to play one of your songs? You know, my friend Eugene plays at Tony's Steakhouse and Bingo Club every Tuesday night from 4 to 5 p.m. Maybe I can introduce you and he can give you some tips on how to make it. Have you thought about buying one of those record deals?"
It's tempting to write this off or be annoyed by it, but here's the deal. It is so much better to have support from someone than to be challenged on what you're trying to accomplish from people who love you. Take every bit of advice with a grain of salt, and just remember that while Great Aunt Petunia may not be in touch with how the music industry works these days, she clearly wants you to succeed and will feel valued for her advice if you take the time to kindly explain what you can, and just accept the advice that isn't worth the time that it would take to explain why it's bad. Plus, every 500 conversations or so like this one, someone will actually drop you a good contact or a situation that can really help you. So it's always better to go in like you're the professional, but you're also approachable. After all, it's not just people who make music who love it. There's something for everybody out there, and that access makes many people assume they know how it all works. Try. Oh, thanks, Aunt Petunia. Yeah, it is a really challenging but, rewarding career. I have thought about trying out for America's Got the Voice Idol before, but I really just like the creative part of this too, so it's just not for me. I'm always on the hunt for gigs that fit my sound and style well, so maybe if your friend Eugene can connect me with somebody at the venue, I can talk to them about it. Record deals are actually actually pretty difficult to come by, and they're also becoming pretty outdated. A lot of artists like myself are finding a lot more success making music independently and uploading it on our own through what's called a digital distributor. Have you ever heard of that before? At the end of the day, if you make people feel like they're a part of your team, you won't just have fans, you'll have mega fans who rep you constantly and get behind your project wholeheartedly. Aunt Petunia may be a little out of touch, but she's got 472 Facebook friends who see all of her posts about her nephew who's a musician, and their likes, dollars, shares, and support of you achieves the same thing as anybody else's. Tip number 3. Always be ready for the dog and pony show. The meal has concluded, the dessert table has been deserted, and everyone is lounging around with their pants button undone. Grandpa Gary Sr. turns over to you as you're standing near the fireplace and says,
"Hey, I hear you're making some music these days, huh? Say, did you bring your guitar with you? You know, Grandma Pearl's piano's still here. Why don't you play us something? You want to make it in music, right? If you can't play it for your family, who can you play for? Why don't you show us what you've been working on?"
I'm going to give you some of the best advice that I've been given on my musical journey. I had a meeting at a publishing company in Nashville a long time ago with my band. We had a wonderful chat about what we've been working on and what we were aspiring to, when one of the executives turned to us and said, "Hey, did you guys bring a guitar with you? Why don't you show us what you've been working on?" We stared at each other like deer in the headlights, because we just thought this was going to be a meet and greet, and we never imagined they would actually ask us to play something for them. The exec caught our panicked faces, and he just kind of chuckled and leaned in with a grin and said, "Guys, always be ready for the dog and pony show." Now, of course, that saying simply means you can tell people about your music all you want, but they will typically reserve judgment, or worse, assume that you're bad, until they've heard your music for themselves. Now look, I'm not advocating that you have anything to prove to your friends or family until you're ready to do so. However, if you are telling people about your project, it's probably best to come armed with either your favorite song you've written ready to play, or a recording of it that you can show people if it's not the type of song that you can demo live. And also, Grandpa Gary Sr. kind of has a point, although it's not for what he thinks. It's not about stage fright, and it's not about not really caring whether or not your loved ones get your music. But rather, it's a chance to soft launch stuff in an environment where you have literally nothing to lose. Again, if you get people on your team because they love some music that you played for them that they had never heard before, you'll make some mega fans. And if they hate it 99% of the time, they won't even tell you. And at the end of the day, you've lost nothing. Most of the time, I've landed somewhere in the middle and heard, "Wow, that was great, Austin. Can I give you some feedback?" And you should always welcome feedback when you can. Alright, those are my tips for helping you navigate the holidays as a musician. Question of the day, what is the most ridiculous advice that you have ever been given by someone about how to make it in the music industry? If you found value here, please like and subscribe to our channel. We love songwriting and we hope you do too, and we want to help you do it better. Also, if you've got a bad case of writer's block and need to jumpstart that creativity, click the link in the description and we will send you a list of 30 free songwriting prompts to jumpstart your creativity and get you writing again. If you write all 30 songs, you'll have the same number of new songs as the number of new Christmas movies that the Hallmark Channel apparently intends to release this year. That's a lot of inner city lawyers falling in love with charming ranch hands who own bakeries in small towns. Alright, that's it for this one, so keep writing and we'll see you in the next one.